I'm Jimmy Johnson.
Hi, I'm Kurt Busch.
I'm Mike Bagley.
And I'm Pete Pistone.
Hello, everyone. This is Takuma Sato.
It's Christopher Bell.
I'm Dave Moody, host of SiriusXM Speedway on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. And for reasons that can only be guessed at, you're listening to Jack Arut's Wind Tunnel.
No spin, no bull, all Jack. Wind Tunnel is brought to you by
Advance Auto Parts, the official auto parts retailer of NASCAR.
Here is your host, Jack Arut.
NASCAR was at their oldest super speedway, best known by racers as the Lady in Black, the Darlington Raceway. We'll get to the action just a little bit later in this segment. But first, I wanted to welcome you to the Wind Tunnel, where you get to hear from some of the true superstars in American racing. And today is no different. We've put together a somewhat eclectic group of guests this week. Helio Castroneves has led an amazing career, both on and off the track. Last season, he raced in the IMSA Sports Car Series and captured the championship, the first ever championship in his career. But his heart really is in IndyCar. The three-time Indy 500 winner will shoot for the brass ring again this year, driving for Meyer Shank Racing, and we'll visit with him today. In the world of NASCAR, Larry McReynolds has been there, done that across his 40-year career. After crew chiefing for some of NASCAR's elite, he has come into your living room each and every time Fox Sports covers NASCAR. And in our Advance Auto Parts Victory Lap, Tom Rogers shares his passion for short track weekly racing in the Northeast. It paid off last season for him when he captured the track title at Long Island, New York's Riverhead Raceway. Pretty good group of guests, don't you think? They are waiting in the wings, and they will join me in just a little bit. But first, it's time for our weekly feature that covers this past weekend's action on the tracks. Across our country, racing is at full throttle.
White flag in the air, one to go. Kyle Payne out front.
White flag, one more time around at Talladega.
Second, no more. Scott Dixon wins.
Winning may not be everything.
Out of Maryville, Tennessee, for the first time in his American All-Star Series career, it is Brandon Miller.
But to these drivers, it is the only thing.
And here he comes off the turn four. Second win of the year. Give it to Harrison Burton.
Joseph Newgarden wins again.
Brad Keselowski wins Bristol. And as they go across the stripe, a photo finish.
Indeed, it is all that really counts. Time for Wind Tunnel's weekly update. It is time for news and notes. There was plenty of action on NASCAR's weekly circuit over the past weekend. Let's get a rundown from PRN's host of At the Track, Lenny Badicki.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Here is your NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series Racing Report. We'll start out in Michigan at Merlin Raceway. Joe Busch got the win there. Brooke Tattnell the checkers at Cedar Lake in Wisconsin. Central Missouri to Dennis Elliott. Jimmy Renfro Jr. the same at Claremont, New York. Colorado National Brian Gussell with the win. Brody Montgomery the big victor at Coos Bay, Oregon. Dominion Raceway in Virginia. Peyton Sellers got both of the victories there. Zach Meyer winner at Evergreen in Washington. Florence Motor Speedway in South Carolina. Ryan Glenski, the big trophy there. Dwayne Howard, a winner at Grandview. He was grooving. Hudson Speedway in New Hampshire. Jeff Rollins and Brian Roby split the wins. Andrew Porter, a big win in California at Irwindale. I-80, Nebraska. Jacob Brown, that one. Chase Dixon and Brad Hausman split the victories at the Concrete Jungle. Kingsport Speedway. Lakeside Speedway in Kansas. Dominic Thibault, the winner there. Chris Roberts got the checkers at Langley Speedway in Virginia. Monadnock in New Hampshire. Camden Curtis, that was his. Chris Van Dyke, the winner at Motor Mile in Radford, Virginia. New Smyrna Speedway in Florida. Justin Spears got the victory. Brian Brown, the winner at Riverhead, New York's NASCAR home track. Salina Highbanks to J.D. Jackson. Tommy Adams, the same at Seacon in Massachusetts. Tucson Speedway in Arizona to Nicole Grody. And Wake County Speedway in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where Brandon Clemens got the win. That's your NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series Racing Report. Please check out PRN's At the Track at GoPRN.com and follow our shows at PRN's At the Track on Twitter.
Now, the NTT IndyCar Series had the weekend off, but they'll be opening their 3-week stand at the Brickyard with the Indy Grand Prix and then preparations and the running of the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500, at the end of May on the 30th. Meanwhile, NASCAR's Elite, well, they were in Darlington, South Carolina. The trucks, Xfinity, and of course, Cup. Racing at Darlington means wheel donuts, crumpled fenders, bear bond, and Darlington stripes. And this year was no different than any other at the track too tough to tame. On Friday, under the lights, the Camping World Truck Series took to the track in the LiftKitsForLess.com 200.
Rhodes and Creed, and Rhodes gets loose. Creed to the front. Rhodes saved it. Sauter looking for second, but he's challenged by Hocevar. 1 to go for Sheldon Creed. Creed supporting. Oh, and the caution is out, but he has taken the white, so that will do it. And Sheldon Creed will be the winner.
Didn't have the best truck, that's for sure. Firing off, I was really tight, and then I was like wrecking loose there, and just doing everything I could. Really aggressive on restarts. I'm sure I didn't make many friends tonight, but that's what it takes.
Saturday afternoon, it was the Xfinity Series turn on the egg-shaped oval as they ran the Steakhouse Elite 200.
White flag is out, and the next flag going to end the race. Justin Allgaier looking for his first win at Darlington. 8 races so far this year, 7 different winners. The only driver to win twice is Austin Cindric. Justin Allgaier trying to add his name to the list. Here comes Allgaier off the turn 4.
Yes, sir.
Justin Allgaier is the man at Darlington.
You realize we just checked off 2 boxes? We just won at Darlington and Atlanta. Heck, yes.
I'll be honest with you, there's a guy right over here with a navy blue shirt, and he gave me the middle finger with both hands on that last caution, and gave me a lot of motivation to win that one. But, you know, I gotta say, my wife, my daughter back at home watching, I'm so bummed they're not here. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially my wife, my mom. Our Good Humor Ice Cream Camaro wasn't as good, like you said, as what we wanted it to be all day, and the guys down the pits, they just kept fighting.
But the headliner was Sunday as the Cup Series tackled the 1.366-mile track in the running of the Goodyear 400, and it was a lesson in domination.
Green and white checkers in the air, and Martin Truex has his 5th stage win at Darlington. Stage-ending flag coming out. And Martin Truex has swept the stages at Darlington. Martin Truex, in the races where he's led more than 200 laps, has not been able to seal the deal. No driver who won a stage at Darlington has ever gone to victory lane. Truex won them both today. Kyle Larson now 2.5 back. Martin Truex Jr. wins the Goodyear 400 at Darlington, as Martin Truex has scored his 30th career win, 28th all-time, and his 3rd of the season. He is the only driver to go to victory lane more than once this year, and he gets his 2nd win at Darlington. He won the Southern 500 in 2016. Larson 2nd by 2.5 seconds. Kyle Busch 3rd. William Byron, Denny Hamlin, the top 5.
We've won a bunch of stages here the past couple years, and just always lady luck got us. You know, track position, it'd be one thing or the other, and we just had a good balance. You know, the car would do what I wanted it to do, and yeah, I just had to manage those long runs. It was really loose that last run, and I was nervous with the 5 catching us, and you know, we got mired in some traffic there, and that's always tough. But we're really lucky to get to do this. I'm so lucky to get to drive for these guys. What an awesome team we have. Hopefully we can keep this rolling.
And that's this week's Racing Roundup right here on Wind Tunnel News and Notes.
coming up next.
Here comes Rogers. Tom Rogers Jr. with a move to the inside. So Tom Rogers Jr. comes to the lead.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
I'm Kyle Rickey from MRN Radio, the voice of NASCAR. They are the foundation of American motorsports, the launching pad for racing's future. Time now for the Advanced Auto Parts Victory Lap. Brought to you by the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series, driving local racing and local communities forward.
Taking a victory lap today is a driver who captured the track championship last season at Long Island, New York's Riverhead Raceway, where he competes in what is my favorite type of car, the modifieds. Lightweight, low to the ground, open-wheeled rockets that I used to call the men that live by the grace of God and 500 horsepower. I don't know if they're making that much anymore, but I am pleased to welcome from Patchogue, Long Island, Tom Rogers. Hey, Tom, is that a good description of the modifieds?
Yeah, it is. I mean, now we're making 600 horsepower, but, it's a car that I've always dreamed of living in the Northeast of driving, and I enjoy driving them. Like I said, I've always dreamed of driving them. I grew up watching them for years, both, Riverhead Raceway, Stafford, Thompson. I've been to all the tracks, with my father and stuff.
When you get behind the wheel, and I alluded to the fact that they're open wheeled. Now they do have Nerf bars, so to speak, but when you're in the cockpit, when you look down the front of that car, first of all, there's a giant air cleaner that obscures part of your vision. And then on the right and the left-hand side are these, 15, 16-inch wide tires. How much actual view do you have of the car in front of you?
Not a lot, Over the years, the rear decks have gotten taller. Years ago, we used to be able to see right through the car in front of us and see maybe 2-3 rows up. That's not the case anymore. So, when you're behind somebody now, it's really tough to see what's going on in front of you. And of course, some people get mad at you, because you pile drive them into a wreck that you can't see, So when I drive, I usually try to drive just off to the left side so I can see what's going on in front of them, but make sure that my bumper is going to connect with their bumper in case they do check up.
So basically, you're an advocate of the late Teddy Christopher's 3-tap rule. First one, I let you know I'm there. Second one, I tell you to move over, or the third one, you're going in the fence.
Well, I don't know about going in the fence, but like he would say, I'm going to pick a lane for you.
That's right.
I learned a lot from Teddy, and we became really good friends over the years, up until he passed. And people like that were special to our sport. Same thing as Charlie and Richie. They were the innovators of our sport, where Teddy was not feared of a modified, in my eyes. He understood the car very well, and he may have gotten a bad reputation in some aspects, but he was right. If you're not going to give me a lane, I'm gonna pick a lane for you.
And of course, we're talking about Ted Christopher, multi-time track champion, who tragically lost his life in a plane crash on the way, ironically, to Riverhead to compete in a race. I want to talk about the racetrack just a little bit. The size, I believe it's around 1/4 of a mile, which we used to refer to as a bullring. I mean, my gosh, you put 25 or 26 cars on a quarter mile like that, and it's almost like you're running nose to tail. How difficult it in terms of a driver approach is it to be in that much tighter quarters?
You know, I treat Riverhead pretty much like Stafford. It's a smaller Stafford. It requires patience. You know, sometimes you run out of patience, but you know, you definitely need more patience at Riverhead than I would say you probably need at Stafford. You know, but you drive them very similar. I mean, you know, obviously, if you run out of patience at Stafford, you're not only going to wad up your car, you're going to wad up somebody else's as well. You know, Riverhead is a little more forgiving because it is slower speed, but they drive very, very similar. I mean, I love Stafford. You know, you guys know that. I mean, when I used to run the SK there, you know, the few shows that I made, you know, you guys were very welcoming to me coming there. And I really enjoyed it. And I think my Riverhead experience really paid off when I went to Stafford.
Yeah, we've seen that transfer many, many times. Most recently with the Goodell brothers who compete in the Wheel and Modified Tour. Having Eddie Partridge and his wife at the helm with the ownership of the racetrack, he's a former owner. And I would think that maybe there's a sense that he better understands what you guys are doing week in and week out because he's been there, done that, and got the T-shirt.
Yeah, you know, he definitely loves the racing aspect. And I appreciate him buying the racetrack and keeping it going. You know, but it's a different role, you know, and it's going to take time. It's going to take time for him to adjust and learn that role, really, you know. And like you guys there, you guys go out and I mean, you guys are like pretty much the what am I looking for? You know, you guys go out, you guys look and get the sponsors for the racetrack and for the divisions, and that really helps us compete, you know. Obviously the cost of racing has gone up, you know, so we need the track sponsors, we need the divisional sponsors, we need our race car sponsors, you know. Just everybody having money and going out there and racing, sooner or later that runs out. And you know, I think right now he's got to learn how to chase the sponsors for the track, you know, to keep things going, you know, and that's going to come over time. He's got some track sponsors, you know, but it's different, you know, like when he raced out of his pocket, you know.
And he could, yes.
He could.
Yeah.
You know, so now you're into a little bit different role here. And, you know, Eddie's getting it. He's got a lot of help with Connie and his nephew, Tom Gatz. And I think they really improved on the racetrack in many ways, as far as the buildings, the bathrooms, the racing surface, you know, so it's heading in the right direction.
When I look at you and what you've accomplished at Riverhead, I would think that you probably have taken over the domination there, much the way, as you alluded to, Charging Charlie Jazombek did in his day. But I also wonder, where did you get that riverboat gambler approach, where you're not afraid to win a race, and if there's a bonus, go to the back of the pack, or as you alluded to, you're not afraid to help somebody get out of your way? I mean, that takes a certain mindset as a driver. How and where did you develop that?
Just watching people, really. I mean, you know, like I said, I was always a big fan of Teddy, you know, and later on, I mean, even a fan of Dale Earnhardt's. And for a while, I wasn't a fan of Dale Earnhardt's, but you know what? I've gone out there and raced with no money. I started the season off with a $2,500 budget. And at the end of the year, I won the track championship, you know. I'm always chasing the money because the money's what pays the bills. I don't come from a rich family. I bought my first modified for $7,500 with 2 motors in it. And I turned it into a championship car. You know, I won the championship in 2004 with a 1988 car that was an ex-Wayne Anderson car. And, you know, I'm not afraid, you know, I'm not afraid to go to the back. I mean, you know, the tour race is there. I'm always missing drivers' meetings. I'm always in the back, you know, but, you know, it's tough because I'm the truck driver. I'm the crew chief. I'm the carburetor guy. I'm the motor guy, you know, and when you're trying to jam that all into a one-day show, plus make all my drivers' meetings, all my, you know, driver appearances and all that stuff, it's hard for me. You know, I don't have a paid crew. You know, all my guys are volunteers. They're all good friends of mine. And, you know, they've all been with me a long time. And that's what's really helped me with my success is them guys, you know, them guys sticking with me through my entire racing career.
So why do you do it?
I was, you know, my grandfather and my father all raced. My father tried keeping me out of racing. I came home with a race car and I think he wanted to chase me around the yard, you know, but I really enjoy it, you know. I don't regret anything. I kind of learned from my mistakes on, you know, maybe going about it the wrong way, you know, instead of setting my life up and my house and everything else, I did everything backwards. I bought a race car first. So I had a race car before I had a street car.
Wow. One of the things that I think my listeners are beginning to understand and absorb is, as we talk to short trackers around the country, the common denominator is that commitment and that passion to weekly short track racing doesn't leave a lot of room for other things for the driver and the team. Are you pretty much in the same situation where, at least during the racing season, after work, it's time to work in your second job, and that's to either A, get the car ready to go, get it repaired, or B, get to the racetrack, and then, as you said, miss a driver's meeting now and again?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I work a regular job, you know, I come home after work. I try to get a little bit done on the race car before dinner time, you know. My kids are in sports or activities, so now things have kind of changed for me where I do those things as much as I can, you know. I got a great car owner in Kenny and Denise Darch. They're able to pick up that slack as long as with my crew, you know, but I try to balance it with my team and let them be able to have their home family life. You know, usually after the racing season's over, normally I shut down until after New Year's. You know, we don't work on the car. We don't touch the car. You guys go do your family deal and we'll worry about the race car. You know, usually it's around February, but you know, we could rebuild a race car fast. This winter I built a new car, and as soon as the season was over, because it didn't end until November, I got right to work on a new car, you know, and built myself a jig. And you know, I had a jig years ago, and when I moved the shop, I had to cut it up and toss it out, but we built a new one now and made it so that we're a little more self-sufficient.
What's left on the racing bucket list for Tom Rogers?
Well, I'd like to win the tour race at Riverhead. You know, I mean, I know we can do it. I've been close a couple of times. Obviously, I've always picked up some other ride where, you know, we were helping them out with some of their issues, and sometimes it bit us, but you know, it's just it's one of the things I want to do. You know, I'd really like to go out and win a tour race somewhere else, like Stafford or Thompson. We came close at Thompson. We set it on the outside pole at Stafford years ago. but just the budget, the money, just it isn't there, to be competitive with the tour guys.
Well, listen, we do appreciate your visiting with us. My only word of advice to you is, as you chase another championship and checkered flags, they have iPhones now where you can put an alarm in so you won't miss the drivers' meeting. Okay.
Yeah, the problem is the pits are so noisy you can't hear the phone. But like I said, that was one of my things with Danny Watts. When I drove for him, it was nice because I could be just a driver. But we got it. I think we got it pretty much covered. This year I went and got my cars inspected before the season started, so we're ahead of the game on that. And it's nice that the tour officials come down to Riverhead now and do that, where years ago they didn't, So it was always pretty rough for me to get my car inspected and get through tech and make all my meetings.
Hey, Tom, good luck in 2021, okay?
Thank you, and you guys as well. I mean, like I said, I watch and enjoy your racetrack.
That's Tom Rogers. We'll be back.
Be sure to join us again next week for another trip to racing's grassroots with the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Victory Lap. Brought to you by the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series, advancing the next generation of drivers and champions. I'm Kyle Rickey from the Motor Racing Network.
Well, it's time to take a timeout, but we still have more for you.
Well, 671 men and women have competed here in Indianapolis in the 85-year history of the 500. Only 60 have experienced the ultimate thrill of winning here. The date of May 27th, 2001 will forever be etched in the memory of Helio Castroneves. He has realized the ultimate dream. Helio Castroneves has won the Indianapolis 500.
Castroneves in a car that has to be running on fumes now with Paul Tracy all over the back end. Tracy looks to the outside. Whoa, and a car in trouble right down against the wall. White flag, yellow flag are going to come out together.
Oh, that is the race right there.
He's done it. Helio Castroneves played the economy game and wins the 86th Indianapolis 500.
Helio and Julianne, the judges have loved your exuberant entertainment and energy as America made you their champions.
After 10 weeks of competition, the winners and new champions of Dancing with the Stars are Helio and
Indy driver Helio Castroneves has been acquitted on charges of tax evasion. Two-time Indy 500 champ was found not guilty on 6 counts, and a conspiracy charge resulted in a hung jury.
5 weeks ago, Helio Castroneves was staring at jail, an orange suit, not a race suit. And now he becomes a 3-time winner of the biggest race in the world. Helio Castroneves wins at Indy.
He is Helio Castroneves, and he joins me next.
Congratulations to the 6 tracks that are part of the final round of the Advanced My Track Challenge. Adams County Speedway, Alaska Raceway Park, Berlin Raceway, Hudson Speedway, Lacrosse Fairgrounds Speedway, and New Smyrna Speedway all have a chance to win $50,000 if they receive the most votes. I had a chance to talk to each of these tracks earlier this week, and it was really awesome to see how excited they were to be a part of this final round. So go vote and see you at your local short track soon.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
You know, since he first appeared in IndyCar, Helio Castroneves has played the role of a Pied Piper with fans from all walks of life. His dashing good looks and his engaging smile have played a huge role in propelling him to stardom. Now, throw in his 3 Indy 500 victories and a total of 50 poles and 30 wins, and it's pretty easy to see why Spider-Man is one of IndyCar's top stars. And he is in the house. Helio, my friend, welcome to Wind Tunnel.
Jack, thank you so much. It's great to be back with you at the show again, and hopefully we can continue to have fun like you always do.
Well, talk about having fun. You've got to be genuinely excited about what lies ahead. Fans at the Indy 500, if you should win driving the Meyer Shank Racing car, there will people to cheer you as you climb the fence.
I'm with you on that, you know. And I have to say, I'm really excited to have everyone on board. I'm really excited to be with Meyer Shank Racing this year, and what a great opportunity, potential young team, and potential to be a big team. And I just hope I can help a lot.
This, of course, will be your first appearance at Indianapolis, not under the Team Penske umbrella. Now, you just mentioned Meyer Shank Racing. When one looks from the outside, certainly one of the teams that is growing exponentially. You've seen it all, Helio, over the course of your racing career. How do you assess the way Michael Shank and Jim Meyer are fashioning their race team?
They're very much like me. They're passionate about racing, and that's one thing I love it of many things because this is difficult to mimic. You know, when you don't have it, when you don't love it, you start looking this way as like in a short term. And when you love it, you can see this is in a long term, like I do. So for me, as of right now, he's hiring an incredible amount of great people. Maybe they're not full time right now. However, they're very, very well experienced. And when you start putting together, Jack, all these people together, in fact, I remember competing against those guys in racing against.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's nice to see everybody getting well together. And just going back a little bit about in Jack Harvey, a lot of people sometimes take it for granted. The kid, because he's 20 years old, so I can't say the guy anymore because I'm actually the older guy. But he is really showing an incredible amount of potential. Just saw last race in St. Pete, starting front row, finished fourth. So, and those are the things that once, and I guarantee he's going to win a race this year. Once he get it, and once he wins, it's going to be a breakthrough, and people are going to look at him as like, okay, this guy it's coming a long way, and he is. So it's great to have that kind of like good quality people, because what I learned from Penske, and from Roger too, it's all about people. You can be as organized as you can be have a lot of funding. However, if you don't have passion, you don't have quality people, it's going to be very hard for you to continue moving forward. And that's what I love about this team.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you about Jack Harvey, but the other side, I think his personality outside of the race car, and also when he steps into the cockpit, is awfully similar to yours. He's not afraid to have a laugh. He's not afraid to pull a prank on somebody. But when he puts that helmet on, he is dead serious about what he's trying to do.
I agree with you, Jack. And that's why I feel that over the years, he didn't have a teammate. So he has obviously the technical direction of Andretti. However, it's not a guy over there or helping or talking or discussing. And sometimes the engineer can do so much. But when you have someone that has been driving the car and experienced, when you can only say, look, remember that scrubbing right in the middle of that corner, and that's what we needed. We needed to fix that. And he's probably going to agree with that. So those are the details that I believe I can actually add and help that the team go to the next level.
Last episode, your buddy Tony Kanaan visited with us.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure there was a long, painful show.
We went way back and traced not only his career and your career in go-karts, but also when you both burst onto the IndyCar scene. And it was pretty compelling when he talked about the last race at California Speedway. We lost an incredible driver in Greg Moore, who had just signed for Penske. He thought he had a ride for the following year. You, however, didn't. And then lo and behold, in 48 hours, you leapfrogged ahead of him and became the driver for Penske. Do you remember that and what your emotions were like?
Yeah, of course. Those are very mixed emotions, obviously. Greg Moore back then was a rising star for sure. He already won races, battle for championship, and I certainly remember that. And having a colleague, again, losing first of all a colleague in this field it's never a very easy way to describe, obviously, the feelings, but very difficult moment. And for me too, because again, for everyone, it's this really dark cloud in the air, and you're like, what to do? And obviously after that was mixed emotions. Like, do I go? What do I do? It's kind of like I'm going back to Brazil. It's my whole entire life that I've been looking for an opportunity. But is this the right thing to do? Is this the opportunity? It was a clash of emotions for sure. And but one thing I remember saying, like, if it's not going to be you, it's going to be someone else. And that kind of like, well, this is the business I'm in. This is a tough sport. This is the dangerous part of the sport, and this is the setup part of the sport. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into it, so I just gotta go for it. And well, destiny got me, after 20 years in this way. And I'm sure I remember going back to Toronto in 2000. I got the pole position there, and it was Greg Moore Award, and I got the pole position. So, and his mom was giving me the trophy, and I was like, look, I just want to tell you, this is very difficult for me, and I hope you okay with it. And it's like, look, I understand. You kind of like asking for blessing, and she kind of like gave me, the trophy and said, "You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing." And that for me was like, okay, now I can move on. But that was certainly a tough circumstances.
If you were offered a quality ride, and let's face it, Meyer Shank Racing is indeed a quality ride. If you were offered a full schedule, would you come back?
Absolutely, without a thinking. I was pushing Mike to, let's do the whole season. Why do 6 races? I don't understand why. And he's like, well, there is a lot more into it. And understand, I mean, you gotta take what you get. And I do believe this is sort of like maybe a test, maybe a way of testing the water. I mean, I'm saying testing the water for what could be a full-time season for the team. And I love to be part of it. Whether it's me driving or not, I really love to be part of an incredible opportunity that can be, like, as I said, a very big organization.
How you can keep your hair, not a single hair out of place when you pull the helmet off after a race.
You're kidding, Jay. I will never share that secret. I mean, this is otherwise every driver will do the same thing. You got to keep it nice. Today I got my Just for Men, so it looks really nice and shiny right now.
Well, then you just answered my last question. Just for Men is your choice of hair coloring. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and it can't be too dark, otherwise it looks weird. So you got to be like the right color.
Few people outside of your immediate family have ever seen you before you apply the Just for Men. Do you care to share with us? Is it gray or white that you're coloring?
Oh, no, just a touch of gray, my friend. Just a touch of gray. when I'm in that situation, I put a hat on. I was like, all right, okay. Maybe in 2 or 3 more years, I might end up just let it go, just like Ari Blondike.
Or what you might end up doing is like TK and just shave your head.
My shape of my head is not as nice. However, he does have a big nose, So, but I don't think I can pull that off.
Listen, this was a real treat. Looking forward to you getting on the racetrack and having instant success, and I don't doubt that you will. After all, you've been there, done that, and got 3 Borg Warners. Helio, thanks so much.
Jack, it's great to be part of your show again.
Coming up next.
One of the most important things that a crew chief has to calculate during that race is fuel mileage. It can determine winning or maybe losing that race.
He's America's crew chief. Larry McReynolds joins us next.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
My next guest, well, let's put it this way. With more than 40 years in NASCAR, first as a crew member, then a crew chief, and now as Fox TV's technical analyst, as well as co-host of SiriusXM NASCAR Radio's On Track with Danielle Trotta, Larry McReynolds has taken fans behind the curtain and has helped them to develop a much deeper understanding of the sport of NASCAR. To his friends and to his listeners, he's better known as just Larry Mac, the titan of trends, the master of McNuggets, and just an all-around NASCAR nut. And today, he is with me here inside the tunnel. Larry, it's good to have you back. How have you been?
I've been doing good, Jack, and that was quite the introduction. I like everything you said there. Like everybody, we've been trying to be smart these last 13, 14 months and adhere to the things that people were asking us to do. And I'm fully vaccinated now. I'm still not letting my guard down. I'm still trying to be smart about the way we do things. But yeah, the biggest thing you said that resonated with me is over 4 decades of doing this. But I love everything I do, Jack, and I hope I'm doing it for a long time to come.
Well, and it comes through in your work, Larry. You're very, very dedicated to it. Look, one of the things that has generated an awful lot of interest, discussion, and debate happened a couple of weeks ago at Talladega Superspeedway when Joey Logano went end over end over end, crashing. And it was so reminiscent of what happened on the last lap in last year's Daytona 500 with Ryan Newman. But the week after the crash, I want you to listen to what Joey had to say to the Morning Drive boys as he tried to reflect upon what had occurred at Talladega.
We're 6 races removed from that on super speedways, and we could have had the same thing. I started thinking of what could have happened if I got hit one more time. And I can't help but to get angry. At this point, my main goal is how do we make this better? And we must do something because we cannot afford to lose one of our competitors or yourself, right? And nobody wants to see that. No race fan wants to see that. None of us competitors definitely don't want to see that. And we want to continue to make our sport better. And we have over the years. Think about where our cars have come from to where they are now. And now we need to look at how do we keep these things on the ground.
I could go on probably longer than a Baptist preacher's sermon about this whole topic. First and foremost, I agree with a lot of things that Joey said. We all want to see our sport as safe as possible. And we do not like race cars flying like airplanes. And the one thing that I'm proud of with NASCAR today, Jack, they do not rest on their laurels. They continue to try to figure things out that can make our sport safer for these race car drivers. If you go back to the Ryan Newman crash at the conclusion of the 2020 Daytona 500, there was a long list of things that got incorporated into race cars before we went back to Talladega a few months later. So my concern is, why did that halo bar collapse like it did? And I'm sure that's a big concern on NASCAR's part. I'm all for anything we can do to make these cars safer. I'm all for anything we can do to keep these cars from flying. My concern is we keep chasing aero packages to keep these cars from flying. Jack, you've been here as long as I have. We've had cars with spoilers as big as the side of the house. We've had spoilers so small you couldn't see them. We've had them at 70 degrees. We've had them at 5 degrees. We even had a damn wing for a few years. Every one of those versions, we've seen cars get up in the air. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't make it right. And I'm not going to be bold enough to say there's not a solution. But after 40 years of seeing all this, I have not seen a solution yet. And one thing that's not changed, there's one common denominator in all these years, and it's a race car driver buckled in that race car that has control of that car with his steering wheel and his throttle pedal. And that's the one common denominator. And you can do whatever you want with the aero package. That's not going to change. Now, I do agree with what Joey said. With this package, the car gets a huge run that you almost can't stop. And that when you do turn around backwards, that big old 9-inch spoiler, it's your worst enemy because it becomes a wing. And so that, I'm sure that's things that NASCAR is going to look at before we go back to Daytona. But I also know there was some packages where all the drivers did was, bitch, we can't pull up, we can't pass. We're in a single file. So I just don't know if we can get there. And another thing that I heard Tyler Reddick say earlier, the safer we make these cars, the braver we get.
Let's go back a little bit. When you are on Fox TV, you are in mission control, my friend. You have, and knowing you, because you were a guy, even when you were a crew member, all through your career, data, you wanted data. Is there anything you don't have available to you in the Fox studios?
If it is, I don't know what it is. We've got so much stuff in there, Jack, that I actually have to have a right-hand man to help me. Steve Shaw, he's in there with me, helping me pull a lot of the levers and knobs, because not only do I have the broadcast monitor, I've got monitors for every camera shot at that racetrack. It's in 2 huge banks, 12 camera shots per bank, 24 camera shots I've got. I've got my touchscreen virtual car. I've got a telestrator. I've got SMT data that I can look at throttle, brake, steering, and fuel flow of every car in the field. And the list just goes on and on. But we don't just use those tools because we got them. We use them because it makes sense to use them.
Let me ask you a question. Is there anything through your career that stands out that is precious to you?
Gosh, that would be hard to pin one down. One that just jumps in my mind quickly. Talladega is my home track. And I remember going there as a young boy with my dad. I was maybe 10 or 11 years old, somewhere around not long after it opened, early 70s. And sitting in the grandstands and watching the race, but more intrigued with the people on pit road. The Leonard Wood, the Junior Johnson, the Harry Hyde. Those are the things that intrigue me. And then you spin it ahead to 1992 to be there with Davey Allison and be able to win that race at my home track. That took the cake right there, but it even goes deeper. So 1992, my son Brandon was 1 year old. He is Davey Allison's godson. Brandon was in Victory Lane that day in a baby blanket in his mom's arms. All right, that was 1992. 20 years later, 2012, he wins the ARCA race at Talladega and drives that car into Victory Lane. And yeah, I won 23 races, cup races, Jack, and 2 Daytona 500s. But seeing him win at Talladega, my home track, his godfather's home track, that goes up pretty far up the list as far as wins that were very special to me.
Final question for you. You had a reputation 4 years of having gained a meteorologist degree, okay, by just using common sense. Now everybody has AccuWeather, up to the minute stuff. You no longer have to run to the trailer to see what is really delayed radar to make decisions. Do you miss not being able to dive all the way up to your shoulders into to weather?
I'm a little bit jealous, Jack, because all of my years as a crew chief, we didn't have all these tools.
Exactly.
You know, we had the seat of our pants, looking up at the clouds, maybe running to the NASCAR hauler to look at that little radar they had on the side of their trailer. And that was pretty much it. And I don't know if you know the story about the 1992 Southern 500. We had been leading that race all day long with Davey Allison, and we had a shot to win the Winston Million. We had already won 2 of the 3 races, the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600, and we just needed to win the Southern 500, and Davey becomes the second driver in the history of that program to win that $1 million. We had led it and led it and led it. And we're getting late in the race. The race is official. So we know, whatever happens, it's done. And we were on old tires. Everybody else was pitting for 4 fresh tires. Davey is screaming to the top of his lungs about fresh tires. I keep watching the sky, and it's getting blacker and blacker and blacker. Now, in fairness to every decision that was made here, we were only about 6 or 8 laps from having to pit for fuel. So that was going to happen no matter what. So I told my shop foreman that happened to be at the track, Gil Curley, run to the NASCAR hauler quick and look at the radar. And he comes back very quickly and he goes, I think you're good to go. And I'm looking at the sky and I'm saying, are you sure? He said, you're good to go. I said, okay, pit, Davey, next time. We pitted for 4 fresh tires, Jack. We didn't even almost get off the jack. It's like somebody threw the monsoon switch, like pouring out of a boot. And my man DW, who had about a 15th place car that day, had not pitted yet. The race gets called. He wins the race. So anyhow, I'm in a state of shock. I think we still ended up finishing 5th or something. And we get to the garage area and I look at Gil and I go, Gil, what the hell, man? He went, Larry, I don't understand it. He said, that radar was green all over. I guess he thought green meant go. That it had nothing to do with bad weather. Moral of the story, don't send anybody else to read the weather map, but go yourself.
Hey, listen, my friend, you're a very special person, knowing that you're such a huge Crimson Tide fan. So we'll end it this way. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby.
That's Larry McReynolds. We will continue on this episode of Jackaroot's Wind Tunnel after this timeout.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
So we come to the end of yet another episode. Now make sure that you follow us on our social media sites and check out our new YouTube channel. It's at Jackaroot's Wind Tunnel. You know, your input is very important to me, and I would love to hear from you. And it's quite easy. You can just email me at jackarootswindtunnel@gmail.com. Hey, make sure you share our download address for Wind Tunnel and pass it on to your friends. My thanks to my guests this week, NASCAR on Fox's Larry McReynolds, IndyCar's Helio Castroneves, and Tom Rogers from NASCAR Roots, the Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series. And with that in mind, I want to remind you to vote for one of the 6 short track finalists in the Advance My Track Challenge. All you have to do is log on to advancemytrack.com and help one of those tracks win a grand prize of $50,000. Next week, We'll return with more from the worlds of NASCAR, weekly short track racing, and Indy cars. Come back next week, won't you? And join me inside the wind tunnel.
Today's trip to the wind tunnel was brought to you by
Advance Auto Parts, the official auto parts retailer of NASCAR.